Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Success Life Live. My name is Eric Reed. I am your coach and host today. So I'm so glad you took time out of your day to jump in and join us. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Eric Reed. I'm a coach. I work with entrepreneurs, business builders, dream makers, change happeners, those kind of folks that want to see a transformation and growth in their life. And that's what I do primarily as a coach, but as a speaker and as a teacher, I guess. So it's so great to have you in the room. I had said today we are going to talk about core values, so I appreciate that everybody is jumping in to learn that lesson. Last night I had posted sort of a question for a friend of mine. Honestly, a friend was asking what are core values, and so I had posted that on my Facebook page, and I got a variety of answers, and I thought interesting mix and match and sort of combination of answers around that question. What are common core values of leaders, or what core values should all leaders have? And so those that answered, I appreciated. It wasn't a big mystery trick question. It was sort of reflective and review. So thank you. And if you didn't get a chance, go add your answer now. I'm still reviewing it. So again, today we're going to talk a little bit about what a core value is, core values, leadership core values. Are you a leader? Do you have core values? Things like that. So take a moment, settle in, get your pen and paper out, or whatever you do to keep track of all this wisdom that we dump. Now, it's funny, the other day somebody said, I'm so glad you transcribe these. I'm so glad you blog and videocast and subtitle, because I often want to go back and review and listen in again. And so this is a great way of doing it, is making sure you have the content in a variety of ways, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, the podcast, or in the blog. I want to make sure you guys get what we get. So if you're ready, I'm just going to do a quick couple hellos, because I see a whole bunch of people jumping in, then we'll get into the lesson. Hey, good morning, Melanie. Good morning, Julie. Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Sonia. Good morning, Helen. Somebody else scrolled by and I didn't get a chance to say hi. I think it was Ale. But take a minute, say hi to somebody else in the room, on the chat, in the line, because we're a community. And that's what people in a community do. They connect. So it was interesting into the lesson when we were talking about core values, and I had posted what are the 5 core values, or what do you think are the most important core values, or asking the question of core values. And some of the answers we got were kindness, humility, vision, fun, courage, teamwork, knowledge, honor, commitment, passion, integrity, respect, intuition, and a couple others that were a variety of the other ones, that were a combination of the other ones. And I thought, interesting combination of words, interesting idea of what a core value is. And some people I would challenge back and I say, is that a core value, or is that a behavior? Is that a belief, or is that a trait? Is that a talent or a core value? And what I mean by core values, and I think whenever you have a discussion around this as a team, as a company, as a family, as an individual, we should have a common language. And so to me, a core value is that thing that resides inside of you that is non-compromising, that above all things, this shall rise to the top. That core value is that magnetic tension in the compass that always makes it pull towards north. Now, sometimes core values can be written as a vision, as a mission, as a purpose, as a statement, as a behavior, as a goal. But core values exist outside of all of those things. Core values are your DNA. Now, the interesting thing is we're finding more and more in science that we can actually alter the DNA that we were birthed with. But we can alter the DNA also of our values, of our core values, of our leadership values. And so as we go through this discussion of core values and talk about what core values are and who are your core values and where do your core values come from, don't think that, oh, well, I don't have that trait, that characteristic, that talent, that whatever, I'm never going to be a leader. Because one, everybody in the room is a leader. You cannot escape leadership. You are leading because you are influencing people. Now, you may be leading positively, you may be leading negatively, you may be leading from a weak position or a strong position, but every breath, every action, every motion, everything you do is a part of leadership. Now, if you want to raise your leadership, if you want to have more influence, more impact, more transformation in your life, your families, your churches, your communities, your businesses, and your company, then you focus in on your leadership and you say, okay, how do I lift up my leadership lid? How do I grow as a leader? What are talents, skills do I need to become a leader? And so often I'll hear people say, well, I can't become a leader because, you know what? I can't become a triathlon Olympian or a triathlon Ironman champion unless I go into training and discipline and study and do the things and grab the resources. But with all of that, I too can run an Ironman. I can swim the swim, run the run, and walk the walk, or run the bike, or whatever it needs to be, because I've invested in learning how. And the same thing is with our leadership skills. If you really want to make an impact in the world, whether it's with your kids, your grandkids, your churches, your family, your team, your companies, or strangers on the street, you got to be investing in your leadership and growing your leadership and studying what core values are and saying, okay, if that's a core value, how do I do it today? How do I make that bigger in my life? How do I make that larger, louder, more present? So I took all the core values that everybody said, and I kind of went back to my leader friend, John Maxwell, and said, what does he say core values? And I went over to sort of a biblical sense and said, what do they say core values are? And kind of dug around to dig some research. And not that I have the perfect list, though I often think my lists are perfect. So true, Jung. Yes, Melanie. But so my first one is that I feel that all leaders first exemplify empathy. That core value of empathy, that leaders have to listen to understand. That when you're empathetic, you're moving outside of your own needs, your wants, your desires, and you're moving into a position of listening to understand, to get the perspective, to be able to say, I'm going to leave everything that I know, all of my comfort, all of my familiarity, everything that's normal to me, and move over to where you're at and listen to your story, listen to your needs, listen to your goals, listen to your desires, and understand who you are because of where you come from. And so to become a leader of influence and to develop that core value, it requires that we build empathy. Because when we build empathy, what does it do? It builds trust. Because people will say, you know what? He hears me. He knows me. He understands me. He took the effort to get beyond himself and into me. I now trust him. So empathy, I think, is like a critical one. The other one was compassion. Now, somebody will say, well, empathy and compassion, they're the same thing. And I think compassion is when you as a leader can have a tender heart, when you can say, I'm going to let all things go and give. You know, the Dalai Lama, and I found this quote and I love it, so I'm going to use it, is compassion reduces fear, boosts our confidence, and opens our inner strength. By reducing distrust, it opens us up to others and brings us to a sense of connection with them and a sense of purpose and meaning in life. Compassion inspires and motivates people to be better. And so I think empathy and compassion, though they sound alike and they sometimes look alike, I think that compassion is empathy is understanding. Compassion is that feeling of the feeling that the other person is having and knowing it and reflecting on it. Compassion is saying, I need to become a better person and step out of my fears of hugging and loving and greeting and being with other people. I have to step out of the things that reduce me, that may feel like they reduce me, but make me bigger when I join with others. And then another one that I had was honesty. Now, honesty right now is a really weird question or a really weird trait because one man's honesty is another man's, truth. But I think it's necessary to build the foundation on honesty. And honesty is achieved with trust, vulnerability, accountability. I can only be honest as far as I'm willing to be vulnerable to the consequences. If you ask me a question and I'm afraid of the repercussion, then I'm not going to ask honestly, and you're going to always feel as if there was something that was being held back, disguised, covered up, buried under, twisted around, and you're going to say, you know what, I don't trust him. And if I say, oh, well, why don't you trust him? They'll say, because I just don't feel like he's being honest with me. Now, I got a 9-year-old and an 8-year-old. And I'll ask my 9-year-old, where's your red folder today? It's the folder that's supposed to come home every day after school with the day's work or the week's work. Oh, I forgot it at my desk. Okay. Now, I'm a father. I'm also somewhat of a reformed juvenile delinquent. And I'll also say, well, how did the quiz go that you took this morning? Oh, I don't remember. I can't remember. I don't know. I think I did okay. Oh, well, did you get a chance to grade the quiz today? Well, yeah, we graded him as a team. Oh, did you remember your grade? I just can't remember your grade. I just can't remember my grade. Well, honey, where's your red folder? Oh, I forgot it at my desk. Now, I get it. 9 years old, probably did forget it, but also there's this moment of like, did you forget it? Because inside that red folder is the results of the test or the quiz that you took that you know that I'm going to have to hold you accountable for. Yeah. Now as a father, I can let it go. Or as a father, I can lean in and say, are you being honest with me? Because right now I want you to be honest with me so I can trust you in the future when you tell me things. And amazingly enough, some days my son will say, I'm being honest, I forgot it. We were doing this and then the bell rang and I go, okay. And other days he's like, well, I don't think I did so good on the test and I don't want you to be mad at me. Okay. Now I trust you. Now I know you. But you have to lean in and ask for that honesty of leaders. And leaders, you have got to be willing to step up and say, you know what? I wasn't honest. Or I didn't give all the facts. Or, I was holding this back because I thought that if I said this, you would do this, and then we would lose trust as a customer, as a client, as a business partner, or whatever. And I was afraid that financially I couldn't make it in the world without you. So, you know what? It's going to collapse. It's going to crumble. You will be found out. So honesty is that trust builder. It's that being transparent. It's that admitting your frailty. It's forgiving yourself and forgiving others in the same process. And so number 4 I had was loyalty. Now, loyalty, blind loyalty and true loyalty. Not going to spend the next 48 hours discussing the difference between blind loyalty and true loyalty, but I think that core value of loyalty, I'm loyal to my team, I'm loyal to my family, I'm loyal to my clients. I say and do what I can to fulfill the promises that I put out there. I show up consistently and dependently, that they begin over time to what? Trust me. Well, you know what? Eric says he's going to do it, and pretty much 99.9% of the time what Eric says he's going to do, and he's always loyal and faithful and constant. And so therefore, I can trust him, so therefore, I'll begin to follow and lead and be with him. That same loyalty of standing up and saying, you know what? I've trusted you in the past. I believed you in the past. I've invested you in the past, and I haven't been proven wrong. And though there is a bit of a doubt, a bit of a confusion, a bit of a shadow in what I'm thinking right now, I'm going to remain loyal to who you've been to me in the past and not judge you in the future. Now, I'm going to remain open and trust and verify and all those things, but loyalty is that going beyond the moment feeling, going beyond the moment's risk, going beyond what's trapped in now and saying, wait a minute, where does this fit in the full story? And how do I fit in the full story? And then I think the last is really respect. Number 5 has got to be respect. And respect isn't given, it's earned, and respect doesn't happen overnight, it takes time. Respect is that thing when somebody says something you do, you honor it. You give respect. You say, you know what? Because of who you are, what you've done, where you stand, what you are, my team, my company, I'm going to respect your ideas. I'm going to respect your talents. I'm going to respect your answers. I'm going to respect you as a person. That when you say yes or you say no, when you say need and I say go, we're going to be together and I'm going to respect and honor it. I had taught a lesson a long time ago about the difference between commitments and covenants. And that's a big, big difference. It's so often through life, we go through making these covenant kind of things that we treat with commitment level respect. And then the things that we've made covenants, we don't respect. We treat them more like just casual commitments. And so when I talk about respect, it's that covenant level kind of relationship between employee and boss, team member to team member, to family member to family member, that when you've made that covenant, when you've made that commitment of respect and giving respect, that it doesn't just bend and twist in the wind, but it holds steady in the long storm. And so, though everybody came up with things, like I said earlier, kindness, humility, vision, fun, courage, teamwork, knowledge, honor, commitment, passion, integrity, respect, intuition, I think they're all great. I think they all have places. What I want you to do, what I challenge you to do, what I'm going to encourage you to do is find out what your 5 core values are. And go through them and rinse and repeat and strain and rinse and repeat like sand and, hunting for gold in a miner's pan. And say, what are my core values? As an individual, what am I not willing to compromise? Integrity, trust, knowledge seeking. What is the thing that if the whole house burnt down around me would still stand? What would be those 5 core values? Would it be empathy? Would it be compassion? Would it be fun? Would it be vision? Would it be courage? What would it be? Now don't say so a core value of I'm committed to always being of service to others. That's an action, that's a behavior, that's a goal, that's a vision. A core value is to be servant-hearted, because that applies to everyone, everywhere, including self. You get the difference, core values? But find out what those 4 or 5 core values are. And then write them down and then post them. And then every night look at them and go, did I live into them? Did I experience them? Did I believe in them? And feel free to cross one out and add one. And over a couple days, weeks, months, years, lives, your core values may come and go, but pretty soon you're going to begin to understand your rhythm, understand your vibration, understand your voice of core values. I work with a lot of families, and especially men. As a coach, I often work with men on establishing their position in the family and in the team and in the company, etc. And I ask them, I'm like, do you have a core value? And they'll be like, yeah, I've got my core values. I'm like, well, what's your partner's core values? What's your spouse's core values? Well, I don't know. I'm like, okay, really help me out here. You guys are building this team thing called a family, like this enterprise, this thing called a family, and you don't even know what the other person in the business is, the company, the family's core values are? Well, I'm sure they're just like mine. I mean, we've been married for 15 years. You sure? You think? Wouldn't it be beneficial if you actually knew, if you had your little list of my core values, my spouse's core values? And then what if you sat down with your partner, your spouse, and said, okay, your core values, my core values, these are the 3 core values we have in common. These are the 2 that are different, but this is the compromise in the middle. This is now our family's core values. And then you posted those core values on the back of the door that leads to the garage that you pass through every single day, so that when your kids got out and went to school, or you went off to work, or came in and going and coming, you could sit down and go, oh, core value. When your kid came home and forgot their red folder, your kid said, really? Is that one of our values? Is that one of the values we established in this house? Does that align with who we are? Honesty, integrity, servanthood. Does that align with it? What you're saying, who you are, what you're doing right now, how is that in alignment with what our values are as a family? And then when they go out into the world and somebody tries to push in on them, when somebody tries to tell them who they are, when somebody tries to tell them what to do or how to behave, or don't worry about it, it's never going to show up on your permanent record, they're going to go, I don't care about all that. Because my core value DNA has been established and defined and created long before this problem, this situation, this mess came into being. And I can't go against it. I can't resist it. It's just like such a part of me now that to take it off would be impossible. And the same thing with your team, and the same thing with your companies, and the same thing with your businesses. If you're an entrepreneur, a businesspreneur, a solopreneur, a dreampreneur, a creatorpreneur, and you're sitting down and you're at the entry level and you're like, this is me and me alone, I want you to create the same core values for your corporation when you're employing 10, 20, 100, 1,000 people. Because these will be determining who you're going to hire next. You're going to look at across the list and somebody's going to say, you know what? If you ask 10 of my friends, they would say I'm a vision seeker. And you would be like, oh my gosh, that's one of my core values. That's one of my company's core values. You belong with us. Let's go. But so often we hire people or we bring them on board or we try and create a team or a company around. And we're like, well, they'll naturally get our core values. We'll convert them and transfer them and somehow magically they'll wake up and have them. Gotta tell you, as much as I like to believe that's true, often it takes so much effort and so much management and so much to begin to turn that ship that after a while you become so focused on developing their core values that you as a business begin to struggle. Now, not to say that everybody has to have the perfect 5 match, but if you've got 5 and they've got 0, really? Are they going to ever fit into your community, your company, your culture? But if they've got 2 or 3 and you've got 2 or 3 that match, and then the other 2 are like, yeah, I like what you say, and that was actually on my list in the beginning, but then my coach Eric said I had to come up with 5, so that was the one I dropped. Then that person's going to be part of your company, be part of your team, be part of your culture, be part of your growth and your dream, and they're going to help you grow. And when you're working as a family and you're raising up kids and people come through your front door and you're like, man, their core values are in no way aligned with ours. Why are you having them at your dinner table? Why are you allowing them into your life? Why are you allowing them to influence your child and your grandchildren and your nieces and your nephews and your uncles and your why are you allowing them to have influence over you? Because I said everybody is a leader. Everybody is a leader. Some are weak, some are strong, some lead for good, some lead for bad. But we all have leadership qualities and talents. And so if you don't know what your core values are, and you don't have them written down written down, not on your iPad, not on your cell phone, not as a screensaver, but written down and posted that every day you can walk by and say, you know what? What I'm about to do does not align with my core values, not moving forward. Yep, that person I just talked to doesn't share a core value. Don't want to get near it. That thought, that business, that idea that I'm about to speak, say, or do, I don't see how that fits into my core values. I'm going to pass it by. Because as you begin to set on your core values, as you begin to really hold your core values, people begin to recognize them. People begin to say, you know what? One thing I know about him, one thing I know about her, one thing I know about that person, one thing I know about that company, one thing I know about that team. And they begin to talk about your core values and they begin to talk about you in a way that people begin to be like, man, you know what? If you want empathy, if you want compassion, if you want trust, if you want respect, if you want blank, you got to go see this person. And your business, your family, your influence, and your leadership will start to grow. But if I can't identify with you, what I think is of value to me, then I'm never going to see value in you. You get it? If I can't see your values and they don't align with my values, how are you going to ever expect value from me? And how am I ever going to expect value from you? So you got to get these values down. You got to get them written. You got to get them posted on your refrigerator so the kids can see them between snacks and your husband and your spouse and your partner or whatever. And you can sit down and go, honey, we're about to make a big financial decision. How does this fit within our core values? We're about to make a decision that impacts our life, our community, our church, our faith, our family, our businesses. And I need to sit down with you and make this decision because I know that our core values are part of this. And when your kid's coming and going and leaving the house, and you begin to worry like, oh, I hope nothing bad happens to them, and you do your little prayer of protection over them, you can also go, you know what? I know who they are because they know what their values are, and I know those values will carry them out because we talk about it every single day. We see it every single day as a family. I don't think they know their value. I know they know what our values are. All right? I know. It's a fun little lesson on core values. And I appreciate you guys for jumping in and joining me this morning. Kind of went off on a preacher mode, maybe. I don't know. You tell me. Thumbs up, comments, signals, follows, likes, shares, whatever. Will let me know if you found this of value. If you did, let me know. One of my goals every day is to add value to others, to increase myself in the world through increasing others. And so I always love getting comments and feedback. Tomorrow, don't forget, we do Fun Friend Fridays. And tomorrow's Fun Friend Friday, I promise you, will be awesome. My sister, my friend all the way from Nigeria, BC, will be joining us in the house. Take a moment and make sure you're here on Friday mornings at 8 a.m. Eastern for Fun Friend Friday. October is packed full of fun friends. If you missed any of the past Fun Friend Fridays, you can always go out to the YouTube channel, Eric G. Reed, and find it, or they're actually being reset into part of the podcast series because people said they tend to run a little long and they wish they were in a podcast format, so I'm doing that for you as well. So anything else I can do, just tell me. Just tell me. Just look for Eric G. Reed. And you do that here. Thank you, Helen. Funny thing happened, joking aside. So apparently Eric Reed, the NFL football player, has recently joined the North Carolina Panthers. Congratulations, North Carolina and the North Carolina Panthers. I got like 3 emails yesterday congratulating me on joining the North Carolina Panthers and Panther Pride and welcoming me to North Carolina. And the first one I was kind of like, is this some kind of spam trick email? And the second one I'm like, okay, is something about to happen that I don't know? Or are we being relocated? And the third one, I'm like, okay, I need to figure this out. And so through a little bit of a Google search and look up, I discovered the famous football player Eric Reed, spelled correctly, joined the North Carolina Panthers. And somehow through Google searching, I came up ahead of him and people were sending me emails. So the power of social media and how to grow your presence that you can match up to an NFL player. I work with a lot of people and coaching individuals who are trying to grow their businesses and use social media and use online to do so. And so it was kind of really funny yesterday when the third one came. I thought, all right, the first person was just lazy. The second person, okay. But by the third person, I thought maybe I could outrank this NFL football player in social media and presence just by my name and the amount of content that I put out and things like that in social media. So it was kind of fun. So no, I am not the Eric Reed who is joining the North Carolina Panthers. If you happen to know Eric Reed that is on the North Carolina Panthers football team, tell him I said congratulations and he and I should sit down and talk soon. So until tomorrow and Fun Friend Friday, you guys go out, have a blessed day, live your life with success. It is yours to have. Sit down and find your core values, write them up, get them where you can see them, discuss them with your spouse, discuss them with your partner, discuss them with your teams, discuss them with those people that have influence on your life and that you want to have influence on their life so that you guys, that's a Minnesota term, you guys are all on the same page. And then start to use it as a litmus test for the things that you watch, the radio shows that you listen to, the coaches and people that you follow online, the community that you're building, and just sort of say, you know what? I'm not seeing my core values reflected here. I need to move on. I'm not seeing this person even knows their value. I got to move on. All right? Surround yourself with people that care and share your values. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys so much. Again, you guys have a fantastic day. Go out and live today with success and be blessed in the meantime. See y'all. Bye-bye.